So I've decided to put the guitar down because I think it's important to actually go to theory school right now. And I want to talk to you about how we can spell chords because it will inform a number of the topics that you know, I will discuss later in this workshop. And learning how to spell chords was something that I learned when I was a teenager, when I was just kind of getting serious about playing guitar. And once I learned how to do this, my knowledge of harmony really improved, and I was able to really understand what chords can work over, certain roots, and where you can add extensions on specific chords. But this is kind of the building blocks of how you can learn that. So um, I'm just going to take the most basic scale that we can think of. So I'll take the C major scale. Why C major? Because it contains no flats or accidentals. So if you're coming at this material, from the, on the ground in, don't know much about theory, that's okay. We're going to make it real easy for you to understand. So in the key of C, we have the following notes. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And then, of course, the C comes after the B, and then the scale repeats. But this is the C major scale, just contains these notes. Now, for us, if we want to build chords, what we do is we stack notes in thirds over and over and over again. If we want to see, what types of chords can be built within any given key. So in this case, we take our C note and we skip the D, we take the E, so that would be a third away, and then we move in thirds again, we skip the F, and then we get a G. So in that case, this is how we would spell our C major chord, is it would just be a C, E, and G. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack triads for all of these notes. So you get a sense of what these chords actually contain as we build triads. Okay, so this is what happens as we build triads here. We have a bunch of notes. So we have the C, E, and G for our one chord. Our D is D, F, and A. Our E is E, G, and B. F is F, A, and C. Then we have our G, which has the B and the D. The A has the C and the E, and then the B has the D and the F. So, what kind of chords are these? Well, the one chord is our C major. The D is our D minor. And as I'm writing these down, we are going to talk about how, what distinguishes a major triad from a minor triad, and what distinguishes a diminished triad from a minor or a major. We are going to get into that. So just bear with me as I put this together. Okay, so what we end up getting is we have our major chords on the 1, 4, and 5. So we have our C, F, and G major. Our minors are the D, E, and A. So we have the 2, 3, and 6 chords of the scale are all minor chords. And then our seventh chord, the B, is a B diminished because, well, I can explain it now because we often actually talk about what makes these chords what they are. And, this is something that once you understand this concept, a lot of windows will open up creatively with respect to what you can do in a tune, or what chords you can maybe substitute over others. So just give me one sec. So now that we have our understand how a major scale is kind of put together, or how So now that we know how like a major scale is outlined, we're going to talk about how certain chords are spelt and what makes a major chord a minor, or a major chord rather, and what makes a minor chord a minor chord. So I'll just take key of C again. So the key of C, we have, if we want to have, say, a C major chord, we know that we have the C, E, and G notes. We know that from our exercise that we just did. So C, E, and G, we have the root, the major third, and the perfect fifth. So that's it. That's what the formula, so to speak, to put together a major chord is you take a root, a major third, and a perfect fifth. You get a major triad. But suppose we want to take this major triad and we want to make it minor. There is only one note that we need to change, and that's the third. The third we bring down just a half step. So, if we were thinking of the guitar, we just take that third and we move it down one fret. So what that comes to is this. So this right here, to take this chord, this major triad, and make it minor, we take our root, our perfect fifth, and then we take our third and we drop it down one semitone. So we have our major, our minor. We wanted to make a major triad minor, all you have to do is lower the third. Now, what about the diminished triad? Well, we take our minor, we have our root, we have our minor third, but then we lower that fifth to a sharp 4 or flat 5, however you'd like to name it. It doesn't matter so much, but whatever works better for you. But when we think of these triads, we're just changing one note at a time. So here, this is essentially it. If we want to take our triads and we want to get different combinations, we take our major, which has the root, perfect third, or sorry, rather, major third, and the perfect fifth. If we want to take that major triad and make it minor, we lower the third. It's no longer a major third, it's now a minor third. And if we want to take our minor triad and make it a diminished triad, all we have to do is lower that fifth. So that's kind of the real easy way of how you can how you can make triads and how they're spelt. Now, if we want to take this up another level, and we want to take these triads and extend the chords, we can make seventh chords. So I'm going to take our example in the key of C, and I'll show you how that works out. F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so we know that these are triads as we stack them, and what I will do is I will give these guys some names. Okay, so we have our names of our chords here. The G and the B, I haven't kind of added extensions to those, like you see with the C major and the D minor, and I'll get to that in a second. But as we take these triads and we want to, add another note to them, we follow our steps. So we go C to the E, to the G, and then we add the B. Now, what these are called are seventh chords, and especially in blues, seventh chords are used quite a bit because they have a certain quality to them that allows for a lot of various extensions, and this is something that you'll hear on a lot of jazz recordings, specifically, or maybe you'll certainly hear them on certain blues recordings by artists like Robin Ford, who are maybe a little bit more sophisticated. But we're not going to go that deep into the music with this clinic, just because we don't have the time, and I'm teaching this over a video recording. But what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I've added seventh notes here. So our first chord, we can see that the C, E, G, and B. The B is a major seventh away. It's the major seventh of the scale. So we're going to name this chord C major 7. Now, why is that? A C major 7th chord has a major 3rd, a perfect 5th, and a major 7. That's why. Now we have our D chord, and when we line this up, we have a D minor 7. So we have a D, F, and A, so our minor triad. And then when we add, of course, we just take in the notes that are diatonic or friendly to the scale. We get the C, and that is a minor 7th away. So a minor 7th chord contains a root, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, and a minor 7th. And as we can see, our sequence is the exact same as we have on the E minor 7th, as well as the A minor. So all of our minor chords here are effectively minor 7th chords. In terms of our major 7th, our F, our 4 chord, is also a major 7th chord, because we have our root, we have our 3rd, our 5th, and our major 7th. But what about this G chord? Now, if a major 7th, say for instance, a way you can kind of determine this real easily is if you use your guitar, a major 7th is 1 fret down from the root note. So if we play an F, let's say on the 1st fret of the low E string, if we let go of our finger and we play that note open, it's an E. Hence, F, E, we know that that is a major 7th. So if we're going to be following that same method with this G chord that we have, it doesn't line up, because the G, a half step down from G is F sharp. But we have an F here. So these chords are known as dominant chords. And these dominant chords are found throughout blues music. The way you can spell them is you have your major triad, your root, your 3rd, your major 3rd, your perfect 5th. But instead of a major 7th, you have a flat 7 or minor 7, however you would want to put it. But these chords are all throughout blues music. So the way you can learn to spell these is very, very important. It goes without saying. Now this B minor triad or the B diminished triad that we had, when we add a minor 7th note, the A, this becomes B minor 7, flat 5. And if you actually take a look at the notes that are in the chord, it B, D, and F that are those notes that are in the B diminished triad. If we take a look at our G7 chord, the B, D, and F are there as well. So I like to look at these chords almost like the diminished or the minor 7 flat 5. I kind of look at it almost as a dominant 7th chord, but without a root present, because those notes are shared amongst the two. So that's a bit of a theory lesson with regards to how we can spell chords with by using the C major scale. Or actually, one more thing to kind of point out, and this is again something that maybe you could use for your songwriting. But chords have specific functions in a given key with respect to motion and resolution that they happen to have. And once we understand this, we can, really do some kind of neat things with regards to chord substitution. So there are, kind of three types of chords. There are tonic chords, which, have the most stability to them. Like they sound most at home in the key. And then there are subdominant chords, which have some instability. And then we have dominant chords that are the most unstable. Dominant chords want to resolve themselves the most to tonic chords. So let's say, for instance, all of these chords within a scale can have a assigned function to them. And when we actually take a look at how we can assign functions, it all goes back to chords that share the same notes. So I've written the functions up here. I'm just going to circle them. Right up here. So I have tonic. Tonics always fall. We can take our C major. Like the one chord is the home bass chord of the key. So if we have that in mind, our one chord is always going to be the tonic. It's always going to feel at home. But when we take a look at the 3 chord and the 6 chord, both minors, we can see that in our C we have the E, G, and B, and then we have E, G, and B in the D. We can see all these common notes. As with the E or the A minor, we see that we have a C major triad in here, the C, E, and G. So we can label the 1, 3, and 6 chords as tonic. They are, they can almost be interchanged with one another. Then with our subdominant, we have 2 subdominant chords in the key, and those happen to be our 2 and our 4 chord. They have, some instability, but they don't necessarily feel at home. And the 4 or the 2, the 4 major to the 1 or the 2 minor to the 1, there's a certain kind of sound that comes with that we will explore because it's used all throughout blues. But this is kind of it creates a resolution that has where you have some tension that resolves to the home bass. But where we have the most tension and then resolution is with regards to our dominant chord. And why do we call them dominant chords? Is because they dominate. They have such a unresolved sound to them. And this is due to the fact that if we take our B and our F notes, we can discover that these are a sharp 11th apart, or this is what's known as the tritone that gives chords a great sense of dissonance. If you play the B and the F notes together just on your guitar, you'll certainly hear it. And because of that, because of the tritone, these chords always want to resolve back to the dominant. So the tonic or the dominant to tonic resolution, like a 5-1, that is just one of the most dominant, for lack of a better terms, chord resolutions in all of music. So these are kind of things that the way that we have our functions lined out or laid out here, it will help you a lot with your songwriting, where you can substitute chords for one another. But I just kind of wanted to give a bit of a deeper lesson on this because this material is going to be crucial for you as you develop as a musician, you develop as a guitar player, and you have a greater understanding about how chords are actually spelled. And now in this next chapter, we're going to go through the various inversions of our chords and talk about why these triad shapes specifically are so valuable when we play blues guitar.